Welcome to The Debate. Today, we're unpacking what might be the exit strategy of the century. We're looking at Eleanor, a 74-year-old former fabric plant worker who, after being handed this just unbelievably cruel Mother's Day card calling her an exhausting weight.
On the day dedicated to honoring mothers, I was handed a greeting card by my daughter, who insisted I recite it aloud for everyone. It began innocently: roses glow crimson, lilacs shine sapphire. But then it twisted: you're an exhausting weight. Nobody desires your presence anymore. The whole room erupted in mockery directed at me. I'm a leaner, aged 74, and that moment marked the deepest shame I've ever endured. It happened on a bright Sunday dawn. Sunlight poured through the family room panes as I stepped into my daughter Sophia's home to mark the occasion. I had chosen my cherished emerald gown, the one that always lent me a touch of grace. In my arms were vibrant blooms and delightful snacks for my grandchildren. "Grandma Leaner," the youngest called out, dashing over. Their embraces warmed my soul completely. Briefly, the world felt flawless. Ethan, my daughter's husband, offered only a curt, emotionless bob of the head. Sophia emerged from the cooking area with a grin that failed to light her gaze. "Mother, thrilled you arrived. We've prepared something unique just for you." I settled onto the couch amid my loved ones. The little ones gathered near my legs, buzzing with eagerness. Sophia retrieved a rosy envelope from her bag and passed it over. "This comes from us all, Mother. Share it vocally for all to enjoy." My fingers quivered faintly while unsealing it. Adorable blossom sketches from the children decorated the front. So touching, I mused. I began proclaiming it with a steady, enthusiastic tone. "Roses glow crimson, lilacs shine." My words faltered. The following lines struck like blows. "You're an exhausting weight. Nobody desires your presence anymore. Your era is over. Depart now, from your kin who can no longer tolerate you." A profound quiet hung for what seemed an endless trio of moments. Then Ethan broke into a harsh, derisive chuckle. Sophia shielded her lips, yet her amusement was evident. The youngsters, grasping little, joined in the tittering simply because the elders did. "Mother, your expression was priceless," Sophia gasped amid her mirth. "You ought to have witnessed it yourself." Ethan captured an image. My spirit fractured. Droplets traced paths along my creased skin. The note tumbled from my unsteady grasp onto the rug. "Merely a prank, Mother," Sophia went on. Not a hint of regret colored her words. "No need to overreact. You've forever been overly theatrical." Ethan retrieved the note from below. "Indeed, Eleanor, it was all in fun, though truthfully," he hesitated awkwardly. "You've been lingering quite a bit recently. Perhaps explore alternative paths." "Alternative paths?" I queried, my tone fracturing. Sophia positioned herself before me. "You see, there exist excellent retirement homes tailored for folks of your generation. Spots where you'd mingle with similar souls. It'd suit you better." "Retirement home" echoed in my thoughts like a final verdict. My flesh and blood aimed to discard me as if I were outdated clutter. "However," I assumed. My murmur was faint. "I assumed this visit was for rejoicing the maternal bond." "And it is, Mother," Ethan cut in with a belittling air. "We're simply facing facts. Youth has fled you. Specialized attention is required, and our routines demand priority." The little ones appeared puzzled. My eldest grandchild, scarcely 8, approached and clasped my palm. "Grandma, what's making you weep?" Before a reply formed, Sophia tugged him aside. "Over here, dear. Grandma's all right, merely getting nostalgic." I remained seated, engulfed in isolation deeper than any prior experience. On the occasion meant to exalt my role as a parent, my own offspring had shamed me openly, reducing me to a vicious family gag. I rose gradually, limbs unsteady. Perhaps I ought to leave." "Fine, Mother." Sophia stayed seated for the farewell. "Expect our ring soon." I proceeded to the exit, clinging to remaining poise, though inwardly everything crumbled. That evening, within my vacant residence, sobs flowed until exhaustion claimed them. Yet an inner shift occurred. The disgrace ignited a long-slumbering spark. The hour had arrived for my relatives to discover Eleanor's authentic essence. Come morning, I severed digital ties with them all. But beforehand, reflection on the path to this agony was essential. I nestled into my beloved recliner, the very seat where I'd cradled Sophia 4.5 decades past. and allowed recollections to unfold like cinema scenes. The saga commenced at my 29th year. Sophia's dad deserted us when she was merely a toddler of 3. One daybreak, he vanished. A scribble awaited on the breakfast surface. This existence overwhelms me. Regrets. Not even a parting word to his child. That dusk, I clutched Sophia as she wailed for her father. Papa ventured distant, darling, I soothed, vowing inwardly she'd want for naught. That vow held firm. For 15 cycles, I toiled extended hours at the fabric plant. Palms grew roughened from stitching a tire deep into darkness. Each surplus coin was earmarked for Sophia's schooling. At 17, aspiring to medical care training, I liquidated my mom's ornaments, the sole precious possession. Her gaze sparkled, discussing her ambition, prompting no second thoughts. "Mama, certain about this?" she inquired then. "Utterly, sweetheart. Your learning takes precedence." Through her quintet of college terms, weekend janitorial duties bent my spine. Homecomings brought agony, but glimpsing Sophia poring over texts at the meal spot justified it all. Graduation brought joyful weeping. "We achieved it, Mama," she embraced fiercely. "Impossible minus you." Subsequently, Ethan entered her world. Initially, he charmed, courteous, diligent, apparently devoted. Their union saw me covering half the festivities, 12 grand I'd hoarded across time. I desired Sophia's ideal ceremony. "Mama, excessive," she objected upon receiving the payment. "Absurd," I beamed. "Your paramount day merits splendor." Their initial dwelling received my deposit gift, 25,000. My entire nest egg, but their joy in that abode brought fulfillment. Grandchildren followed, 2 wondrous tots illuminating my days. Post-maternity, Sophia resumed employment. I stepped in as unpaid caregiver. Daily for 3 years, I'd trek half a dozen streets to their place by sunrise. Prepared morning meals, attired the young, strolled them to green spaces, nourished, cleansed, narrated tales. Sophia's return found order and cheer. "Couldn't manage sans you, Mama," she'd express early on. "A true savior." Gradually, shifts emerged, gratitude waned. My child-rearing insights turned to meddling. Suggesting the littlest see a doctor for ongoing hacks, Ethan barked, "Eleanor, parenting falls to us." That debut retort silenced me. Perhaps overstepping, I pondered. Then, subtle jabs arose. "Mama, energy levels aren't what they were for child minding." "Eleanor, vitamins mixed up once more." Home rest might help. Yet I persisted daily, aided relentlessly, devoted fully. 2 years prior, Ethan's unemployment prompted my monthly 500 to safeguard their roof. "Short term," they assured, "till better prospects." Employment returned in half a year, yet no halt to funds, accepted as entitlement. School tech for kids, 2,000 from me unsolicited. Sophia's vehicle failure, 4,000 for fixes. Kitchen overhaul, 8,000 contribution. Incrementally, I evolved into the unseen supporter, resolving fiscal woes while excluded from key kin choices. Last year, Sophia arranged a gathering for Ethan's natal day. Learned. Incidentally via grandchild's slip about the hidden fest. "Reason for my omission," I phoned Sophia. "Ah, Mama, minimal affair, solely our quartet, assumed boredom for you." Social feeds revealed 20 attendees, Ethan's kin I recognized, all welcomed save me. Silent tears that eve, surely an error I rationalized, errors normalized, birthday outreach forgotten, meals postponed, surprise visits met irritation. The breaking point hit 3 months back. Assisting supper prep at theirs, I caught Ethan conversing outdoors via call. "Yes, my wife's mom resides solo, becoming quite reliant. Ill? No, but elderly folks, you understand, seeking suitable relocation spots." I stiffened, concealed. My daughter's spouse schemed my disposal. As worn decor, sleep evaded me that darkness. Life, fortune, affection, all poured into this clan, now deemed hindrance. Unbeknownst to them, a vital secret lingered, veiled for ages. My mom, pre-passing, disclosed kin estate in Montego Bay, Jamaica, claimed at my 70th. Waterfront apartment leased long-term. Earnings amassed untouched in reserves. Plus assets from Aunt Beatrice's bequest, child-free demise granting all to me. Securities, equities, savings notes, wealth expanding silently amid my humble pension existence. Nearly 400 grand unknown to kin. They viewed me as destitute elder on aid. Ignorant of my subtle backing of their ease, driven by devotion, not necessity. Following. That maternal day disgrace, an eternal snap occurred within. Time for revealing Aliner's genuine worth. That vicious note served as alarm. I remained vigilant through the maternal day gloom, clasping the message in quaking grip. Phrases reverberated, "You're an exhausting weight. Nobody desires your presence." As moisture evaporated from my face, odd evolutions stirred. Grief morphed to potency. Insight, resolve. Decades later, honest perspective dawned. No, wait, I sustained them. Deliberately, I arose, headed to quarters. Retrieved a timber chest from vanity, untouched lately. Contained vital papers, account logs, titles, asset proofs. Scanning sheets, quick arithmetic stunned. Past 5 years, gifted Sophia and Ethan precisely 67,000. 67 grand taken as birthright, amid worsening regard. House initial sum 25,000. Nuptials 12,000. Bi-monthly aid 2 years 12,000. Youngsters devices 2,000. Auto mend 4,000. Cooking space upgrade 8,000. Plus myriad minor outlays totaling 4,000 extra. Concurrently, same humble abode for me, identical emerald attire Sundays, foot journeys to market for fuel thrift. Yet agony peaked recalling attitude shifts. I recalled my senior grandchild's natal fest half a year prior. Arrived ahead to assist set up per habit, but door knock brought Ethan's irritated visage. "Aliner, event commences at 3, early why?" "Figured aid with setup," I offered beaming. "Aid unnecessary, Sophia manages." Rearward, spotted his mom, Clara, affixing orbs in main space. She aided, I faced. As intruder. "Outside, wait till 3 possible," I stuttered, shamed. "Overdramatic, mama," Sophia emerged from prep area, apron wiping. "Remain, but kitchen avoid. Recipes confuse you." Recipes confuse me, family chef for eras. That afternoon, patio nook seclusion like outsider at kin event. Observed Clara aid. Cuisine while visitors praised her pastry. I funding half costs, overlooked entirely. Birthday melody time, rear positioning as circle formed round grandchild. Fode, absence unnoticed. Evening later, grandchild neared as I tidied discreetly. "Grandma, quietness today, why?" "Merely weary, dear." I fabricated. "Grandma Clara claims parties too taxing for your age." Lad's utterance sliced sharply. Clara, mere trio years junior, informed my grandchildren of my supposed frailty. Despite that shame, funds continued, aid persisted, optimism lingered. How naive. Recalled prior Yuletide, too. Lavish presents procured for all. Cycle for elder grandchild, slate for junior, Gallic scent for Sophia. Implement Ethan desired. Nearly 3 grand expended. Yuletide Eve, arms laden with ornate bundles. Youngsters rushed thrilled, but Sophia summoned. "Young ones, place grandmas beneath tree alongside rest. Group unveiling tomorrow." My offerings vanished in their purchase pile. Unveiling, giver unacknowledged. Young vaguely appreciated all for. Offerings but sting deepened post. Special for Sophia, ancestral gems strand from great mom. Vintage treasure laden with lineage. "Mama, lovely truly," Sophia uttered sans trial. "Jewels rare for me though, reserve for matured grandchildren perhaps." Returned container unclasped, pearls unseen close, I'd envisioned. Seen months, picturing her adorned in lineage gems spanning trios of females. That solitude Eve embraced tiny gem case weeping. Not value monetarily pained, utter disregard for heartfelt token. Breaking came 2 months prior with illness. Bedridden week-long, heat nearing 102 degrees. Cooking impossible, lavatory trips labored. Phoned Sophia for sustenance delivery or wellness check. "Mama, swamped currently. Ethan's major task, my extended hospital duties. Neighbor possible. Darling, ambulation tough. Mama, adulthood means self-reliance. Can't dash for every sniffle." Sniffle, elevated heat deemed minor. Disconnected, no follow-up weekly. Mrs. Thompson. My octogenarian adjacent delivered broth homemade, insured doozing. Acquaintance scant showed greater care than blood. Recovery post, family visit resumption, health inquiries absent. Week erased. Presently documents arrayed, stark realization dawned on familial role. No adored elder. Merely sentiment bank. Funds required, Aliner appeared. Gratis tending, Aliner, blame outlet, Aliner. Yet Aliner craving affection, tending, honor, or illness contact, invisible. That dusk, toughest choice lifetime. Extracted aged portable, accessed digital finance initial in moons. Alterations vital. Initially halted recurring 502. Sophia's ledger. Next, terminated shared reserve for crises, solely theirs utilized. Thirdly, altered testament. All to Sophia, Ethan redirected to deserted elders' charity. Fourthly, unprecedented, acquired flight pass. Hour to view Jamaican inheritance. Commence deserved existence. Pre-departure. Insurekin grasped. Precise forfeiture. Plan activation Tuesday dawn. Slumbered mere trio hours, yet year's first fully alert, resolute. Donned finest charcoal ensemble acquired for Sophia's academic triumph, seldom used. Meticulous cosmetics, hair elegant twist. Aim to project true empowered female, not presumed reliant crone. Bank first. My monetary. Guide Mr. Whittaker, startled by dawn visit. Mrs. Aliner, assistance today? Vital account adjustments required, firm declaration. Ensuing due hours, finances overhauled. Halted all Sophia transfers. Sealed tri-year shared ledger. Shifted asset funds to primary. Certain, madam, Mr. Whittaker fretted. Major shifts. Absolutely. My assets, my discretion. Lawyer's quarters next, Mr. Bennett. Family legal's handler decades. Testament full revision needed. Direct entry. Mr. Bennett, senior gent knowing me from Sophia's youth, removed specs, concerned gaze. Aliner, all well, radical alteration. Splendid truly, clarity new found after ages. Detailed desires, Sophia, Ethan portions to destitute elders group. Grandchildren trust, access at quarter century, soul with authentic bond, sans duty. Aliner, ponder days more, irrevocable. 74 years pondered, Mr. Bennett, recent quintet instructed fully. Inscribed papers steady. No quiver, no hesitation. Travel bureau followed. Overnight probed Jamaican holding. Trio room flat in scenic district. Leased via overseer firm, revenue piling in Jamaican untouched reserve. Flight to Montego Bay Friday desired, agent informed. Vacation voyage. Lady, nay, emancipation journey. Secured premium seat. New chapter commencement warranted luxury. Pre-exit one final, compose missives. Midday home, desk seated. Retrieved fancy stationery purchased Ian's unused. Hour to clarify kin events. Initial missive Sophia. Dearest offspring, upon this perusal I'll journey to Montego Bay, reciting in unbeknownst familial legacy. Chosen to cease all recent fiscal aids. Monthly 500 eternally ended. Crisis ledger shut. View not as penalty but overdue self-reliance tutorial. Ages offered all, hours currency. Vigor, boundless devotion. Yet sometime burden label replaced boon. Maternal card mere final trigger. Issue predated, viewing me as servant and fund source over parent. Testament altered. Legacy to those cherishing kindness, kin bonds. Offspring trust at quarter century, proven true. Tie only. Seek no funds. Call not for return plea. Dispatch no young for sentiment tug. True maternal reclaim demands proof of valuing essence, not provisions. Your parent, self-worth newly embraced, Aliner. Ethan's second. Ethan, viewed beyond spouse's kin. Embraced as absent son, yet awkward elder you sought elimination. Overheard trio month call plotting suitable spot relocation, like obstructive relic. Unaware, suitable spot mine always. Jamaican holding, assets yielding annual exceed yours, liberty to dwell preferred. Ages, subtly sustained your ease. Mendied, assisted. Costs, shielded crises. From devotion, sans duty. Yet kindness seen frailty, presence reliance, devotion nuisance. Now self-support mandatory. Missives complete, enveloped, table placed for find. Living space seated, grinning. 74 years culminated in life's prime wisdom. Treatment taught via tolerated. Ages endured affection, scraps fearing solitude. Solitude proved vastly superior to disrespecting company. Wisdom gained, solitude false. Liberty true. To Montego Bay. Long absent thrills stirred for my.
Revealed she'd been secretly sitting on a Jamaican estate and a massive investment portfolio. She didn't just get mad, she cut them off completely and moved to Montego Bay.
Right, and it's the kind of story that feels so satisfying to read, a total mic drop moment. But I think underneath all that vindication, there's a huge, huge failure of communication. So the question isn't just good for her, it's whether this total severance was a triumph of self-worth or really a tragedy fueled by her own secrecy.
Look, I'm landing firmly on the side of self-preservation. Eleanor was a victim of elder financial abuse, plain and simple. When she realized her role in the family had been reduced to a resource they resented having to use, the only rational move was to leave.
I guess I come at it from a different angle. I think Eleanor was, in a way, a co-architect of this disaster. By presenting herself as this destitute widow while holding nearly $400,000 in assets, she engaged in what psychologists would call financial infidelity. She set up this covert contract, giving with a silent expectation of gratitude, and then looped the family when they failed a test they didn't even know they were taking.
Hold on, I think the contract was pretty overt. Eleanor wasn't just present. She ruined her hands in a fabric plant to fund her daughter Sophia's medical school. She paid their $25,000 down payment. In the last 5 years alone, she gifted them $67,000 in cash and subsidies. The family knew she was giving everything she appeared to have. The fact that she had more doesn't erase those sacrifices.
It doesn't erase the sacrifice, no. I'll give you that. But it fundamentally changes the power dynamic, doesn't it? By pretending to be poor, Eleanor forced her daughter and son-in-law into a position where they felt, burdened by her. If 5 years ago she says, look, I have investments in a property, she isn't a burden anymore. She's the matriarch. She allowed them to treat her as a dependent, and then she punished them for doing exactly that.
You're making a huge assumption that money buys respect. I think the evidence here suggests the opposite. Remember, she overheard Ethan, the son-in-law, referring to her as outdated clutter. He was actually plotting to put her in a retirement home to get her out of the way. I mean, that is just, it's dehumanizing. If they knew about the $400,000, do you really think they would have suddenly respected her? Or would they have just drained her dry? The secrecy wasn't a game, it was a firewall.
That is a fair point about Ethan's malice. That's indispensable. But we have to look at the collateral damage here. The grandchildren. Eleanor didn't just leave the adults, she vanished from the lives of an 8-year-old and his siblings. These kids were used as pawns to deliver that horrible card, yet Eleanor admits the 8-year-old comforted her afterward. By cutting them off and sealing a trust fund until they're 25, she's treating people like bad investments to be liquidated.
I see that differently. I think this is about breaking a cycle. Sophia called her own mother theatrical for weeping over that card. That is gaslighting. It's denying Eleanor's reality. If Eleanor stays, she models for those children that it is acceptable to be mocked and used. By leaving and by creating a trust that requires the children to prove a genuine bond later in life, she's actually incentivizing the one thing the parents failed to teach: authentic connection over transactional value.
Okay, but that assumes the children will ever understand that lesson. From their perspective, their grandmother just abandoned them. It actually validates the parents' narrative that she's unstable. And that is the tragedy of the nuclear option. It leaves no room for rehabilitation. Eleanor hoarded her truth just as the family hoarded her labor. You can't have intimacy without vulnerability, and Eleanor refused to be vulnerable about her reality until she was already on a plane to Jamaica.
Well, sometimes vulnerability is just an invitation for further wounding. Eleanor's move wasn't about teaching a lesson or rehabilitation. It was about survival. She chose to live her remaining years in dignity rather than serving a family that viewed her as an expiring asset.
Perhaps, but it serves as a stark warning, I think. Relationships built on hidden ledgers, whether they're financial or emotional, they always end in bankruptcy. Eleanor kept the score secret, so maybe she's the only one who knows she won.
A complex intersection of finance, family obligation, and self-worth. That is all the time we have for today.